Greetings, fellow songwriters and seekers. Welcome back to Muse Measure. If you haven't done so yet, please hit the guy on the Lotus pedal down below. Bruce from Tampa, Florida asks, when a song begins with a strong emotional impulse, how do you protect that original spark as you shape it with craft, structure, and revision without sanding off the very thing that made it alive? Very, very good question. And this is a danger that happens, as you're crafting it, as you are editing your lyrics, as you're getting fancy with your chord progressions or doing leaps and bounds with your melodies, is that you might lose that initial emotion that was the impetus for the song. And sometimes it doesn't matter. The song still develops a really strong emotional life, and it delivers a really strong emotional impact. The lyrics are vivid and very strong in their emotional impact. But other times you might lose it completely. So that's why I think it's really important when you have your initial idea of the emotion of something is to record yourself just getting whatever idea you have down. And oftentimes when I even, and I'm writing lyrics or I'm just working on a song, I will put like some kind of reminder on the sheet of paper to remind me of the initial emotion that I'm trying to get at. So if I'm, let's say, I went to go see the Elvis Epic film the other day. I got to see it in IMAX. It was absolutely incredible to see Elvis on that huge screen with the music being really, really loud. And I'm a huge Elvis fan, so it was really special. Of course, Elvis in the late 60s into the 70s is pretty cheesy, schlocky. I mean, just that was the aesthetic of the 70s, and Elvis really pushed those boundaries. The reason I'm talking about this is because he was singing You Lost That Love and Feeling, which happened to have been my parents' song. And that song never really hit me the way it did when I was watching it in the film. Because I guess I'd heard it so many times as a kid, and when you're a kid you don't really understand what that means. You can still enjoy the song and enjoy the performance of it, and the production's incredible. Phil Spector's work with the Righteous Brothers is jaw-droppingly beautiful, and it's a real feat in studio technique. But that initial feeling of what it feels like to be with somebody and to have lost, or feel like they have lost, even worse, feel that they've lost that loving feeling, like that initial great joy of being in love is fading. And it's past fading, it's faded. So I was thinking about wow, I need to write a song about this emotion because it's really, really sad. And that song is more uplifting if you listen to the music, especially with the production. And it still works. I'm not saying the song doesn't work and it's not a classic song and it's not an amazing song, but it kind of defies the initial emotion of you've lost that love and feeling. It's kind of joyful the way it sounds. I mean, I guess it is a pleading song, bring back that love and feeling is what they sing at the end. But you can see how the initial emotion, which is one of great sadness and sorrow, that can get lost in the production and the songwriting. So that's why I think it's really, really important to remind yourself of this as you're writing. So I like to put maybe just a little note in the margin saying, this song is about this. This song is about what it feels like to be in a relationship with somebody and to feel like they are falling out of love with you, which is a very, very sad feeling and a very fearful feeling. So I think just putting some kind of reminder there. Of course, if you write, you lost that love and feeling and it starts to defy what your initial emotion was or the kernel of the emotion, I think that's okay because that's a great, great, great song. So it's really up to you and your call about what happens. And I think this is what happens with songwriting. It's one of the coolest things about songwriting, but it's also one of the most frustrating things about songwriting is that the songs have a nature and a path of their own. It's like when you have children. You have all these ideas about what your child's going to be, or even for your own life. You have all kinds of ideas about what your life's going to be. And then the nature takes hold and it shapes into what it is. So sometimes you can't keep on to that initial spark. And maybe that spark is just that. It just is what lights the fire and gets you going and gets you expressing. But, if you are really trying to capture what it feels like to have your heart broken, or to feel like the love is zapping out of your relationship, or to find out that someone you love has died, then, I think constant reminders, put something in the margin, and then always, ask yourself as you're going through and as you're revising things, does this image bring forth that hauntingness that I want, or that emotion that I want? What's my central emotion that I'm trying to get at? You can have all these tangential emotions orbiting around the central emotion, but they all have to serve that main emotion. And so you can ask yourself, when you're revising your lyrics or when you're writing your lyrics, is this conveying some aspect of that? So, for example, I'm writing a song about what it's like to feel that the love of your life is not loving you anymore, and they are not showing the affection anymore. Well, there's so many images that you can use for that, like you no longer smile when I come into the room, or you no longer touch my hand when I sit next to you, or you don't kiss me with the abandon that you once did. So you can see all those images are serving that central emotion. So I think there are ways to make sure that happens, and it's a good thing to keep in mind. Now, sometimes if it goes off on a tangent and you really like where it's going, then that's fine too. Maybe you need to just write a whole nother song that is about just that central emotion. But it's just something to be conscious of and something to be aware of, and you can have both. Both are totally legitimate, and both have created great songs. But if you are really just trying to express, I want to express this emotion, then just set yourself some reminders. Write in the margin on the piece of paper that you're working on, or in the journal that you're working on, or in the Google Doc you're working in, that will remind you that, all this needs to center around this central image. And you can even graphically do that. So what is the central emotion or experience that you're trying to convey? And then, as you add lines, you can add them to this visual diagram, so that you're like, are they serving this central planet or the central idea, or are they something else? Are we taking us onto some other journey? Okay. Well, thank you so much for your question. I hope things are going well down in Tampa. They're quite cold here in New York, so I hope the weather's nice down there. All right, thank you all for your questions, and best of luck with your songwriting and spiritual practice.